Deep bow, hello, and welcome to everyone who is here in the present moment, and also welcome to those people who may be joining at another time, weren't able to watch live. I'm Bante Warapanyo, your meditation host, your Zen host for this gathering, this meeting tonight. And the reason that we are all gathering together is to practice meditation. So, to concentrate, to gather our mind, to collect our mind here in the present moment, and also to relax, release, to refresh, to restart, um, to really come home to the present moment. So that's what we're going to be. That's what we're going to be doing together today. Anyone have any questions before we start? Any important things they need to bring up before we begin today? Okay, so the first thing we can do is adjust our posture. So you can take a few moments to find a comfortable and stable meditation position. If you like, you can adjust your robe. You can also um, sit cross-legged. You can lay down if you need to. You can sit in an office chair with your feet flat on the floor. It doesn't need to be anything formal, but we're kind of taking a formal position of being comfortable and stable and upright in our body. As we find that position, a position that is comfortable, is relaxed, but also we're not going to bed. So that's a little bit of a different mode of operation. Usually, when we're kind of focusing to find that a comfortable, really relaxed position to put the body down where we're going to sleep. But here, we're actually finding that comfortable, stable position to wake up, to be more aware, to be more present in a relaxed way. So once you find that position for your body, and begin to turn the mind around. So rather than looking outwardly towards work, towards school, towards play, towards the relationships that we may have with other people, towards the good things or the bad things in our life, we can actually start to turn the mind around and begin to notice the experience of having a body. And especially, you can begin to notice this experience of breathing, which is really alive and nourishing. If we don't breathe, we die very quickly. But we oftentimes kind of see our breath, see our breathing as something that's very secondary, not so important, not so worthy of our attention and our presence. So a way that we can kind of energize that interest and that curiosity in our breathing, that tension that we give to our breathing, we start to take a few deep breaths. We breathe in deeply and we breathe in such a way that is interesting, nourishing. right? You can breathe as deeply as you need to, really bring the mind home to the body. And you start to notice and to look at the present moment bodily experiencing. Close your eyes if you like and feel the breath in the body. Feel the breath as it enters in through your nose, goes down into your lungs, into your stomach. Wherever it is for you that the breath is, really be deeply aware of that and be in contact with that experience of breathing inside the body at the present moment. And it can be said that if we are in the right conditions to really practice meditation, then we should be able to breathe in such a way that does bring us this sense of enjoyment, this sense of nourishment, almost a kind of joy, that there really is something enjoyable and pleasant about breathing, about giving our wholehearted attention to breath. Now, one quality that we're bringing to our meditation practice, where this isn't just kind of zoning out or this isn't kind of just relaxing, is that this present moment breathing and this present um, awareness of what's happening in the body, we are looking at that, we are experiencing that as a kind of truth, as a kind of fundamental mind ground of reality, as the primordial uh, basis of which all phenomena arise from. And that's simple, ordinary, breathing as deeply as we need to and enjoying the breath. It needs to be something that we enjoy. Breathe in such a way that's uncontrived, it's not calculated, it's not to get something, it's not to control something, certainly not to get rid of anything. But we breathe in such a way to enjoy our breathing, bring our awareness home to the body. And so, as we practice like this, there may be a particular feeling that comes up in the body. It could be a feeling of enjoyment or fear or thought or a physical experience in the body, especially. And so, don't think too much about that physical experience, what it is, what it isn't, but more so stay with your breathing and stay with your awareness of what's happening right now. And try to breathe and be aware of that physical feeling, especially, without any kind of judgment, more like an open curiosity, and following the breath as it flows in and flows out. That is to kind of empower this capacity of being aware, not going anywhere, not doing anything, but just being in this position, whatever the body is in, breathing out. So I oftentimes talk about the path of Buddhism and the path of meditation as especially getting started on it, getting involved in the practice of it as basically like going for a walk. Right. We all know it's good for us to go for a walk in nature, even a walk down the street. I mean, just walking and breathing, getting the blood flowing, just something inherently good about it, skillful about it. And so right now, it's just as if we, everyone who's here in the present moment and people who join us in the present moment a little bit later on, um, it's like you have 10 people, 20 people walking with you. So it's very inspiring, it's very nourishing, it's very encouraging, and we're not always going to be in that condition, especially to have a body that's somewhat healthy right now. There's no major pains going on, a mind that is somewhat calm, feels somewhat safe. Doesn't need to be perfect. We really want to lean into this practice and make use of it. We breathe wholeheartedly, we sit still, we don't entertain many thoughts about getting up and going and getting some ice cream or some candy. Not necessary. We just enjoy these conditions that have come about. Sit still, breathe, and be aware. To enjoy this walk together, this practice together. It's really to be enjoyed. Don't be shy about enjoying it much as you can. thoughts and ideas and distractions, they do arise. And we're not here to fix ourselves. We're not here to fix the world. Not here to fix the mind or the body. Just to enjoy walking together. Enjoy sitting together, breathing together. Sitting, breathing, and being home. Really feel that sense of being home. And every time that distraction, that thought, that complicated thought, that goal that you want to reach, that different version of yourself that you want to get to, every time that comes up, you notice that, come home, come back to that deep breathing, that rich breathing, that wholehearted breathing. This practice of just sitting here, breathing and being. Okay, so let's invite three sounds of the bell. As you hear the sound of the bell, hear it and listen to it just like the voice of truth and the voice of freedom. Okay, so at this time, feel free to stretch a little bit if you need to. You can also massage your face or your head. This will also be a period of time where there's a space for asking a question or sharing about your experience. asking a question about meditation or sharing about your experience. Feel that it's while to share. Good. So let's read a few more excerpts, a few more Zen teachings from this book, Zen Under the Gun, which is a compilation of teachings from certain Zen masters that were alive during kinds of times of distress and unrest in ancient China. Zen Under the Gun. And I don't know how, I mean, for me, it's more of a compilation of Zen teachings from different Zen masters in a particular period of time, but that that idea of Zen under the gun, um, practicing meditation or being Zen in the face of difficulty and adversity, this is something that's really essential to the practice, and it goes against what we usually think about, being Zen or being spiritual. It means we're fully relaxed, everything's going the right way, we're fully blissed out or fully peaced out. But actually, the highest Zen can be practiced under the gun. The real spirituality is what we practice, how we deal with, how we face that real suffering, that real mud, that real anxiety, that real fear, that real depression that is coming up and holding us down, right? How do we deal with that? How do we relate to that when we are actually under the gun, not when we're just in our ideal conditions, not when we just are able to control everything, but at those times when we don't have any control. We're not in a position to control anything. And that's the first truth of Buddhism, the first noble truth, that there is suffering, right? It's just like there is mud in life. There is difficulty. There is a lack of perfection. And it's not by trying to get to some perfection that we can transform that suffering. It's by recognizing that suffering and accepting it and loving it and understanding it. It's the saying, what do you do when you fall off of the horse? What do you do when you fall off of the horse? You might not be able to get back on the horse, right? Even Superman. I don't know everyone's ages here, but I believe someone who played Superman in before my time fell off a horse and couldn't really ever get back up on a horse. So in that case, it's to keep breathing, keep coming back to nurturing ourselves, taking care of ourselves, showing up to the present moment, regardless of the difficult circumstances that we find ourselves to be in. So, Zen Under the Gun from 4 Zen masters in turbulent times. And I didn't really pick anything in particular today. But somehow I think we'll find exactly what we need. And if anyone has any questions as we're reading through this, or any comments that come up uh, here in the Discord, especially, please feel free to speak up and to share. And happy to hear from you. Okay. Anyone, please feel free to enlighten us. I look for a nice excerpt here. So this is a short little sentence here, I think is quite nice. The whole world is my patron. It's the kind of title of this. And a patron is like a supporter. And so especially for the Buddhist monks, we don't have the job, we don't do the farming, we don't do the material wealth development. So and artists as well, right? They rely on their patrons, their supporters, to live their lives. So this sentence is titled, "The whole world is my patron." Speaking to the patrons of the temple at the festival, Zen Master Gulin said, Nangguan said, so Zen Master Gulin is quoting Zen Master Nangguan, "The whole world is my patron. He wasn't fooling you." So it feels great when we are supported, when we are taken care of, when we are lifted up, right? When the people and the environment takes care of us and allows us to be in a position where we feel safe and solid and free and loved and supported. And a lot of us can spend our whole lives kind of looking for that, right? We're looking for that person who supports us in the way we want us to be supported. We're looking for that place to live that supports us to deal with this or deal with that. We're looking for the certain conditions to arise for us to get out of a certain situation and get to another situation. And so all of this is, it's this support that we are looking for and we rely on to live. Right? Nobody is in a vacuum. Nobody exists independently. It's not possible. So Nangquan said, "The whole world is my patron. He wasn't fooling you." So for me, I can get a sense of that feeling or that sensibility and I think Morgan on the YouTube just said, "Everything supports the practice if we let it." So how would that be? How would that feel? What kind of state of mind would we find ourselves to be in if the whole world was our patron? If the whole world was supporting us here in this present moment? It'd be mystical, nourishing, freeing. And for me, I find I can breathe in such a way where I feel that that sense, and it seems to have almost unknown depth to it of the whole world is my patron. Right here and now, the whole world is supporting me to be here, to be free, to be aware, to be sincere, to be gentle. And there are those sufferings, those fears, those anxieties, those angers, those difficulties that come up, but they seem so. If I really look closely at what I'm experiencing right now, it seems that those traumas and those adversaries and those negativities uh, so fleeting. It's so much like a phantom. But this feeling of support, the whole body and mind just being held and lifted up by the world. Anyone have an idea about this or something they want to share about this? Whole world is my patron. As an experience, here in the present moment. The teacher's staff. Zen Master Gulin held up his staff and said, "Right now, old Shakyamuni is here on the end of my staff, emitting a great light and expounding great transcendent wisdom. If there is one word or one phrase in this that does not extract the nails and pull out the wedges and dissolve the sticking points and remove the bonds for all of you, I vow not to achieve true enlightenment. Even so, I have only said one half of it. What is the other half?" He planted his staff upright and said, Heaven and earth are wide open." This first part is expressing this idea of old Shakyamuni is, of course, referring to the Buddha, the founder, the principal teacher of Buddhism. And there's this Zen idea of everything really being fully presented, fully shared, fully expressed here and now in everything. So inside of this uh, post-it note is the mountains and the rivers and the moon above. So this Zen master holding up his staff and saying, right now, here on the end of my staff, the Buddha is emitting a great light and expounding great transcendent wisdom. So everything, if we look at it in the correct way, if we see in the right way, we can we can see the Buddha in everything. So that is, we can see the ending of suffering, great compassion, great wisdom, great gentleness expressed in everything. A webcam, a light, microphone. The next part, he said, if there is one word or one phrase in this that does not extract the nails and pull out the wedges and dissolve the sticking points and remove the bonds for all of you, I vow not to achieve true enlightenment. So, does anybody have an idea of what that's about? What is Zen Master Gulin kind of getting with in a statement like this? Zen Master Gulin, what's that?
Beings are boundless. I vow to save them.
Uh huh.
So he's expressing the Bodhisattva's aspiration.
Well, he's saying if there is one word or one phrase in this, in these words that are being spoken about, the Buddha being on the edge of this staff, emitting a great light and expounding great transcendent wisdom. Um, and then says, if there is one word or one phrase in this that does not extract the nails and pull out the wedges and dissolve the sticking points and remove the bonds for all of you, so freeing from whatever tangles we're in self-fixation, attachment, craving, aversion, dissolving all those sticking points and removing all the bonds. If there is one word or one phrase in this that does not do that, I vow not to achieve true enlightenment. Then goes on to say, even so, I have only said one half of it. What is the other half? He planted his staff upright and said, heaven and earth are wide open. Okay, and so there's a footnote down here that I think could be helpful. And I also have a feeling about this. So, one half, the other half. It says, from the perspective of the relative truth, so like the general kind of practical truth, sentient beings, people like me and you, we are deluded, right? We couldn't to um, just kind of cut through the heavens and the earth and experience this ultimate enlightenment. We do get stuck. We do get confused. We get stuck in suffering. We feel anxiety, right? Whatever it might be. So, from the perspective of this relative truth, I like to say practical truth because this is a kind of a working situation, right? Our Buddhist Zen understanding, whatever, should only be relative to a practical, workable understanding. So I think that's what the relative is for me. Um, from the perspective of the relative truth, sentient beings are deluded and need to be liberated. To have the They need to have the wedges pulled out and the sticking points removed. So that's one half of it. But from the perspective of the absolute truth, nothing separates sentient beings from the source, the one reality provisionally called Buddha. Heaven and earth are wide open. So even though we talk like this, even though we kind of we become a Buddhist monk, or we go to this intensive meditation retreat, or we subscribe to this Buddhist newsletter, or we study a book, or we join a group meditation activity like this, um, from that perspective of the relative truth that we practically um, want to pull out these wedges. We want to dissolve these sticking points. We want to, get rid of this gosh darn suffering. Um, that's true, but the from the other side of it, this perspective of the absolute truth, and these kind of go together, is that there's nothing separating us from the source. There's nothing that distinguishes us from this one reality that we can call Buddha. So uh, Zen Master Gulin said this by saying, "Heaven and earth are wide open." And I think for me, that's maybe where this fear or this worry, this fight or flight response, especially people who go through trauma, um, can be more often triggered, right? You have a more regular relationship with that fear, that trauma. Everything's going to explode. People are going to start screaming. The situation is just going to go wild at any moment, right? So, well, that's kind of true. All kinds of things could happen, but I think that also goes with heaven and earth are wide open here and now. So it's not just that everything's on fire and we need to panic, but that everything is on fire and that's okay. We aren't separate from the fire. That fire is a truth that is burning through us. And whatever it is that we feel in the present moment, heaven and earth are wide open. No boundary, there's no sticking point. Buddha is not remote. When he was invited up to the teacher's seat by the donors for the 10,000 Buddhas festival, Zen Master Gulin said, "Buddha is not remote from humans. Buddhahood is experienced in the heart." Where did I get this news? Reality has no attachments. These are born based on sense objects. I always like to bring up before we continue with this, especially with this Western context, because we don't so much have a background of um, like what is a Buddha, what is an enlightened being, why does that matter anyway? What's the big deal about a quote unquote enlightened being or something like that? What's the big deal about a Buddha? Well, the big deal is you being on a basketball court with Michael Jordan. It's a real deal. It's a real, you being on a basketball court with Michael Jordan and you want to play basketball or you want to win, right? You want to be successful in playing basketball. Well, the Buddha is the Michael Jordan of peace, happiness, freedom from suffering, breaking down the boundaries, pulling out the wedges, extracting the nails, dissolving the sticking points. Only it's Michael Jordan times 10. And this is a reasonable thing because we know that the muscles and hand-eye coordination and all that is very in-depth. It can be trained to a great level, right? Michael Jordan level, Kobe Bryant level. But we know that the brain is even more subtle than that, right? Than the muscle fiber. The muscle you pull it, break it, get bigger, stronger, ta ta ta. But the brain is so much more vast and in depth and rich with these connections and exponentially more um, intricate. And so the Buddha, these enlightened beings, these Buddha, is that Michael Jordan times 1,000 of happiness, of freedom, of transformation of suffering. So we recognize it in ourselves. Well, that's what I want. That's what I need. That's what I mean, for me, that's what I'm here on. That's the meaning of my life. That's the purpose of my life, to transform suffering, to have true peace and happiness in the here and now, to share that with other people. And so imagine if for you that was basketball and you were on a court with Michael Jordan times 10, times 100. It's very clear that this is not something remote. Right? The Buddha is not something abstract. It's not something we need to do a lot of legwork to understand what the relevance is for us. So let's read this here. Buddha is not remote. When he was invited up to the teacher's seat by the donors for the 10,000 Buddhas festival, Gu Lin said, Buddha is not remote from humans. Buddhahood is experienced in the heart. Where did I get this news? Reality has no attachments. These are born based on sense objects. But do not settle down here beyond attachments. So don't get stuck on this view of being beyond attachments. Don't settle there. For people who are quick and lively, as soon as they hear Buddhahood mentioned, they are like giant golden birds who part the ocean's waters with their wings, with their wing beats to catch and swallow dragons. They are like lions strolling along who do not seek companions. For them, every atom of dust is thus. Every moment of thought is thus. The whole body comes like this. The whole body abides like this. Then Master Gulin said, when the particular time arrives, the truth is spontaneously apparent. The sunlight does not wait for a fire to be warm. The moonlight does not wait for the breeze to be cool. The world is 1 rod wide. The ancient mirror is 1 rod wide. The stove is 1 rod wide. Where the Buddha image is big, there is much mud. Where the boats ride high, the tide is in. Two notes here in the bottom. The world, the ancient mirror, the stove, inner and outer align and fuse. The Buddha image is big, the boats ride high, the inflow of truth brings empowerment. So when we practice meditation, we are allowing this inflow of truth to take place. This inflow of non-contrivance, this inflow of non-calculation, this inflow of non-complicated thinking to take place. But it's not just settling down here. It's not just kind of, relaxing and catching a wave. For people who are quick and lively, as soon as they hear Buddhahood mentioned, as soon as they get a taste of this truth to come across their tongue, they are like giant golden birds who part the ocean's waters with their wing beats to catch and swallow dragons. They are like lions strolling along who do not seek companions. For them, every atom of dust is thus. Every moment of thought is thus. The whole body comes like this. The whole body abides like this. So let's practice meditation together. All right? Go ahead and take a moment to adjust your position for your body. Find a comfortable, stable position. For our meditation method, we're simply going to breathe in such a way that is enjoyable and nourishing, and breathe in such a way where every atom of dust, every sensation, every moment of awareness is kind of opening up the ocean, revealing dragons, swallowing them whole, sitting, breathing, being aware. And enjoy it because it really is wonderful to have this opportunity together and feel grateful. Just take these few moments to sit, to breathe, and be aware together. So, as we hear the sound of the bell, 3 sounds of the bell, and enjoy this practice together. So we can all bring our hands together and offer a bow to each other and also to our practice. Grateful for you all being here, and I hope you got some benefit and some nourishment from these Zen teachings and this meditation practice. I will open some time here at the end if anyone would like to ask a question or share anything. But you can consider that this is the formal ending of our 1 hour community meditation and Zen teachings class or activity. Okay, thank you. Very welcome, Craig. Okay, Elidio, JT, Nicholas, Morgan, I believe, Purple, Love and Peace, Ubano. Glad that you were all able to join.
Nice to see you again, Bante.
Yeah, I'm surprised that we came across each other in that group, and I'm glad that you are here. And please feel welcome.
Thank you. Likewise. I'll see you another time. Goodbye.
Bye. Bye bye, Kaylee. Yeah, it's just we explore these teachings together and we kind of see what's what. We see what comes up. And it's a community exploration. See you next time, everyone. Here. And dealing with insomnia, just do good things at that time. And be patient and allow yourself to be insomnia. Don't try to avoid it. Don't try to get rid of it. Don't try to make it not be insomnia. But, allow yourself to be in that state and be gentle and kind of do good things. Do what you should do if you're awake. Eventually you'll go to sleep. Don't worry about it. See you next. Yeah. See you next time. Okay, bye bye everyone.